Hey everyone, Sarah here with Indian Collective, and we are here at the Indian Collective headquarters in Rapid City, Miniluzaha, Oceti Sakowin land at the Collective Abundance Fund launch party. And on this live stream today, we're going to be talking about the Collective Abundance Fund, which just launched today. This is the second application round for this particular grant. And it's an exciting day. We're here at NDN, and we've been here since 3 o'clock. And today's event is all about talking about the grant opportunity, what it is, answering questions from all of you. We're going to be talking to members of the NDN Collective staff. We're going to be talking to the Indian Collective President and CEO, Nick Tilson, members of the Collective Abundance Fund team, and they're going to answer all sorts of questions about what this grant opportunity is. It's definitely one of our more popular grant opportunities that's really been groundbreaking and getting a lot of attention. We just announced our first round of awardees earlier in January, and this particular grant is one that is so unique. It is just available for Indigenous people in the tri-state region. You don't have to be a member of a tribe here. You could actually be an Indigenous person such as myself. I'm Shoshone and Paiute, but I live in the tri-state region, and you could be eligible for this grant. But there's a lot more to this grant opportunity, and so we want to make sure and take the time today to answer a lot of questions. I know we've been getting a lot of DMs about people like waiting for this live stream, people that haven't, maybe weren't able to make it to this event, who wanted to be here. You don't have to be here to register. You can actually register online. We're going to be talking about registration. We're going to be talking about the application process, giving you tips, answering some frequently asked questions. But yeah, today is all about getting up close and personal conversation and answering a lot of questions, building understanding, not just about this grant, but what NDN Collective does and how this fits into our mission and our theory of change to build Indigenous power. But before we get started, I just want to take a moment to talk a little bit about what you'll get when you come here. So right here at the front of our headquarters here, you'll see these bags, and I'm going to show you what you'll get when you come here. So here is one of the Indian Collective Abundance Fund bags. When you come here, you'll come to the back and come through the front, and there is a registration table in the back, and we have members of our staff that will help you to register for this grant. Now, quick note, to apply for this grant, it's actually a two-step process. You have to register first. You could do that here in person, or you can register online or at one of our Navigator hubs. Navigator hubs are places that are going to be set up across the tri-state region where you can go get help to register. So we'll be talking about that more. But when you come here, you'll get one of these folders that have all sorts of helpful information for this grant. Let me set this down. So inside this folder, there are frequently asked questions. There is a lot of information about how this particular grant is about abundance, hence the name Collective Abundance, how it's about building generational wealth on Indigenous terms. Now, we're not talking about wealth according to colonial standards, but wealth on Indigenous terms being things like more like, having access to land, having access to skills and training, to home, to being able to have a home, to cultural teachings. So you get one of these. You'll also get a cool water bottle that says, whoops, Collective Abundance Fund. Let me take this out here. You'll get a water bottle, and you'll also get a pen. So just some of the fun swag that you'll get while you're here. So come on over and join us here. We're actually going to be here until 7 o'clock p.m. We started at 3. We'll be here until 7 o'clock, and we'll be here hanging out, having food. And so we're going to take a look around here really quickly and see what's going on. So we've been open, we've been going for a little over an hour, and this place was really, really busy. There were not a lot of Indians on Indian time today. This place is actually really packed right at 3 o'clock and even a little bit before. So, but yeah, now you'll notice like a bunch of people hanging out. A lot of these people have already registered. They're just eating food, visiting, getting an opportunity to visit with our staff. But one of the first people that we're going to talk to is our president and CEO, Nick Tilson. We have one of our team members going to grab him right now. But just to share a little bit more while we're waiting for Nick. So you'll come through here, you'll go through the back to our registration area, which is actually in our garage space. And there's a number of tables set up back there too, where you can interface with some more of our staff, register. They'll help you through the process of registering. They have laptops set up there, and a number of our staff to ask some questions too. So here we are with Nick. So Nick, we're live. You want to introduce yourself really quickly in case people don't know who you are?
Sure. Hamadakiapi, Nick Tilson, Amachiapi, Chantea Washte, Napechi Zapalo. My name is Nick Tilson. Oglala Lakota. I'm from Porcupine, or Pork. If you're from there, you know what I'm talking about. And I'm the president and founder of Indian Collective.
All right, so we're at the launch party. We've been going for about an hour. What do you think of the turnout so far? Is this what you've expected?
Yeah, we've had a lot of people coming in. It's like open for several hours, right? So we've had a lot of people coming and going. They're trying to keep up with the fry bread over there.
Yeah,
you know?
Yep. We already went through one tray, I saw.
We went one tray of fry bread. I think this is a like unique type of launch party because this grant that we have, the Collective Abundance Fund grant, is for individuals.
Yeah.
When Indian Collective does so much grant making, since our inception, we've done like over 900 grants and around $80 million of grant making to Native organizations and people. This one in particular goes to the individuals because the racial wealth gap in America is huge. So for every $1 that a white person has, a Native person has 8 cents. So that represents a 92% racial wealth gap between Native people and white people, yet this whole country is on the stolen lands of indigenous people. And so this partnership has been like a evolution. We obviously don't think that we're going to close the racial wealth gap by distributing $50 million, but we do think that we can create models for it. We can create models for it, and I love that we went through a process in the creation of this fund, the Collective Abundance Fund, to create a new definition of wealth that includes holistic well-being, that includes language, that includes culture, because as indigenous people, we don't just think of wealth as capitalistic monetary terms. We think of our whole tioshpa as our the wealth of a whole community. And so this grant is an awesome life-changing grant that can help you get into home ownership, that can help you start a business, that can help you pay off student debt, that can help you consolidate your debt, that can help, it can be used to build a ceremony house. If you're a family that comes from Yuipi people, or if you're Native American church people, that you can use it to build ceremonial spaces, because we see that as well too. If you're struggling with drug and alcohol, you can use it to help you get into treatment too. So all kinds of different purposes, investing into the self-determination of individual people in our communities, And so, and I think I always say the second year is going to be even more exciting than the first year, because Indians, we don't believe shit. They're going to give us $25,000 or $50,000? Nay, that's not happening. And then people who got the money, bought houses, started jobs, and people are like, oh shit, this is real, So, it's pretty exciting.
So 200 indigenous people already across the tri-state region have received this grant, and we just announced that in January. I was just telling everybody. So you mentioned a couple of the things, or some of the things that they did with that funding, building homes, building wealth on their terms. And what are some other, stories that you can share about the people who received the grant for our first round and the impact that it's made in their lives?
Yeah, I'll share a few stories. But first, it's intentional that during the time that they have the resources, that they have anonymity. And the reason for that is everybody, if you got 50, for those of you that are watching, if you got $50,000, how many people are hitting you up? Kahashi, brother. But you might have not seen them in 20 years, but brother, you know. And so we wanted to make sure that people had anonymity while they were in the program, so they can really do the program without that pressure of everybody, like, you know. And so they have the anonymity on their terms, so they're allowed to tell people if they want to. They're allowed to tell people if they want to, but we're not. And so, but the cool thing is there's people who want to tell their stories. So in 2024, like, get ready, because you're going to be able to hear stories directly from the people who were impacted by this, you know. But just to give you an idea, like, I know one family that never had a house. They never had a home. They just rented from place to place, you know. And through this grant program, they didn't realize how much resources it was going to cost in addition to their home. They had to get water hookups, sewer hookups, electricity hookups. And so although they were close to home ownership and getting a mortgage, this helped them finish that. Yeah. It helped them get back onto their own land, onto their homelands. And I think in this case it was like a double wide modular type of building. But this grant really allowed them to have access to water, electricity, the internet, the foundation for the house, and they put it on there. That's life-changing. That's like a stabilizing effect that it has on, and everybody knows, like, you know, Indians, we don't just provide, our house doesn't just provide for one family. Yeah. Everybody comes through, you know, and so you think about the stabilizing effect that grant, you know, a home, even one home on a reservation or in a community provides for a whole extended family, a clan or Tioshbai, you know. I remember another grantee, when they were giving the announcements, I got to run into somebody at the gas station right down the road here. And I didn't even know who all the grantees are too, you know. And so I'm pumping gas at the gas station, and all of a sudden, you know, older relative comes up and hugs me and is like in tears. And I didn't know what they were hugging me for, or like what it was about, you know. And that person had received a Collective Abundance Fund grant, and they had an older house, and that particular grant was to help them fix it up. And they had old pipes that leaked, that created mold in their house, that made people and their families sick. And this was life-changing for them. They got to remodel their house and get new pipes and new electric, finish their basement, have more of their grandkids have places to sleep. Like, that's huge, you know, especially when you're the grandma or grandpa in the community where all the grandkids go, you know. That's pretty powerful, you know. And so I think a couple other stories of some folks who went off to college and they wanted to go to graduate school. They wanted to go to graduate school but didn't have the money. Or they were still paying on their student debt from undergrad. And these are like our future leaders. And well, actually, some of them are leaders right now. And so I know that one of the grants allowed somebody to go on to graduate school who would not otherwise have the opportunity. And that's like an investment into not only that person's future and that person's family, but also, you know, our whole community. Because we have more people going off to college, bringing those skills home, you know, bringing those skills home back to our people. So those are some of the stories that I know about, that I heard about, and I'm sure there's way more. I mean, there's 200 people all over, you know. And sometimes I walk around because some people are like, I'm like, I wonder if they got a Collective Abundance Fund grant, you know. But I've heard some really positive things from people, you know. And I think it has like, if you imagine like the influx of like resources like this that go into a community with the understanding that like our economic conditions as Indian people exist because of colonization, because of oppression. And so this program is directly tied to the mission of Indian Collective. To build the collective power of indigenous peoples, communities, tribes, and nations to exercise our inherent right to self-determination while fostering a world built on the foundation of justice and equity for all people and Mother Earth. Because as indigenous people get lifted up and as indigenous people get invested into, it's actually a good thing for the whole community. There's less people that are unsheltered. There's less people that are, in struggle. There's less people that are in struggle, and it creates a stabilizing effect. And so I'm really excited to see how it pans out over the coming years too.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Nick, for telling some of those stories. So one of the things that is a reality in the world of grant making is that there are only a certain number of grants that we can award for every grant year. I mentioned we can only grant up to 200 grantees per year or awards per year for this particular grant. Side note, Indian Collective has several other grants, but for this particular grant, we can only award 200 people. There's already been over 200 people that registered. There's probably been over 200 people that have come here today. And we know that, these stories are really inspiring, and our people come from that place of struggle because we've been systemically oppressed. And so there's a lot of excitement about applying for this grant, but the reality is that not everybody is going to get awarded. And so, here at Indian Collective, we talk a lot about having a mindset of abundance in a world that often, has colonized us to think of scarcity.
Yeah.
And so knowing that this grant is limited to 200 people, per year just in the tri-state region, like what would you say to Indigenous people who might not get awarded, but who care about this vision of Indigenous wealth and abundance?
A couple things, like colonization or like reservation mentality, like a lot of are mentalities that we have around when somebody, let's say this program didn't exist. Let's say nobody knew about this program, and you're driving down the res one day, and you see this family that always struggled, that was Ushika. Ushika, for those of you that are not Lakota, it means to not have much, to be, not have very much means, and are living in poverty, and all of a sudden that family got a home, and you drive by, are you going to be like, hell yeah, I'm happy for them, they deserve that, I'm happy that family has that home, I'm happy for them, sincerely, I'm happy for them? Or are we going to have the mentality, gee, must be nice, I'm going back to my trailer house, must be nice, and have a negative attitude towards that family? Our mentality is part of our cultural currency, cultural values. And so, yes, this program is not going to reach everybody. But I think we have to ask ourselves, when we think of that, collective abundance thinking is about, am I going to be happy for when I see my relative succeed? Am I going to treat my relative as a good, am I going to be a good relative by lifting them up, by saying, gee, I'm happy for you, because truly through colonization, literally we've had to survive by scrapping it out for crumbs, And so I think that's a really good question, because I think that abundance, this grant is not going to create abundance, but this grant will open our minds to have abundance mentality, and it will create some opportunities for how we change in the future, and it challenges the status quo, the Bush Foundation, who was the partner funder in this, was very intentional that Archibald Bush was one of the original leadership of the 3M company, Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing. Where did Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing derive its wealth from indigenous people's lands, extraction of resources from indigenous people's lands, and then when he passed away, he left this money in this foundation to give back to the Indians in the tri-state area of Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, and the 23 Native nations who share their geography. That's their language. I'm hard pitch for the work that they do. But they understood that there was an opportunity to give back to something, to give back to Native people. And they wouldn't call this reparations per se, you know, but hey, what's up, Clancy?
A lot of people still coming in and saying hi. We're right by the front door.
Yeah, this is a spot, huh? But there was a political process, a mentality that they went through. They wanted to find a way to give back. They wouldn't quite call it reparations because, you know, reparations has to do with systems-wide change, right? But it's a model that could, you know, imagine if every single regional foundation in America decided, hey, we're going to give resources, you know, through grant making back to individuals who have been impacted by slavery, who've been impacted by settler colonialism in America. And we're going to give back to them because settler colonialism and the certain economic system that's in place creates systemic injustices and systemic racism and systemic economic inequalities. And we're going to make investment to try to change that. And that was the thinking behind this too. So I just wanted to give them a shout out too, because that's forward thinking. You know, not all funders in America are thinking about giving back to those that are descendants from slaves, you know, that are descendants, you know, from slavery, I should say, and or the descendants of people who, you know, have survived the settler colonialism in America. And so I think that's, I don't know, I think it's forward thinking, and I think that like a lot of things that we think are not possible, this is an example that they are possible. This shit is happening right now. We are giving grants to individuals away, you know, to individuals for the purpose of building wealth, for the purpose of closing the racial wealth gap, and it's having a direct impact on the lives of Native people right here in this community in North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, you know. And so that's a big deal, you know. Yeah. That's life-changing work.
Yeah. Super quick question, and I'm just asking this because I've seen it posed like in our social media. You mentioned the Bush family coming from the 3M company. So this, to be clear, is not the Bush family like George Bush, former president.
No, it's not that Bush family.
There's more than one Bush family.
Yeah, it's not the Bush beer family. It's not the former 2 presidents. It's not those families. The Bush Foundation is a legacy foundation. See you later, bro. I hope you get it. I said I hope you get it. I hope you get it. All right. So it's not that, you know. But I will say this, that like part of our work here at NDN is that like huge amounts of the resources that exist in the field of philanthropy and exist in the world exist because of the stolen lands of Native people and the extraction of the resources from them. And so part of our work here and part of our racial justice work, part of our critical race theory for all of you that are against that out there, in action is to get those institutions in place where wealth is currently being hoarded and distribute that wealth. Distribute those resources back out to the communities and to the people who have been impacted by settler colonialism and invest into their self-determination so that they can start to uplift themselves out of poverty and create opportunities to create solutions based on their values. So Indian Collective is a movement infrastructure organization that provides those resources to people. But it's organizing work. It's organizing work to have us, go get those resources from those institutions and disperse those out. And we have many like warriors in the field of philanthropy who work inside those institutions, working to do the exact same thing too, who carry that same mentality and same analysis. And so I don't shy away from those conversations at all about where the resources comes from NDN, because we're actively liberating resources from those places to get them to the community. Because the way I look at it, some of those resources are ours anyway. that wealth existed and exists because of it's been extracted from our communities,
Yeah, definitely. One of the things that I was hoping you can elaborate on a little bit too, Nick, was how this grant, and even any Indian Collective grant in that matter, is different than, say, like ARPA funding or per cap or distributions from tribes. I know that, the tribe that I come from, like, we all get a check. Like, every tribal member gets a cut from ARPA funds. All you got to do is fill out a simple form.
Your tribe.
Yeah. You fill out a simple form, name, tribal, and it's really simple. How is this grant and even any Indian Collective grant different than that type of funding?
Well, a couple things. Like, so let's just talk about this one in particular, the Collective Abundance Fund grant. This specific grant that you get is given to individuals. So one, that's different. It goes to individuals. Oh, you can come through. Don't be shy.
You can move this way too. Like you said, we're at a good spot right here at the front. Maybe we'll scoot over a little bit.
Yeah, people are like, don't want to interrupt.
Yeah.
But they're trying to get registered.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh, okay. It's part of what makes it different is it's not just filling out a form, right? You're filling out an application, and in that application, you have to articulate what you're trying to do with these resources and how it helps you and your family get out of poverty, or how it's going to help you move forward. And that articulation of how it's going to help your family is so important, because we can't give these grants out to everybody, right? There's thousands and thousands of Native people, and we're going to give 200 grants a year for the next 4 years. So we already gave 200 away last year, so there'll be 1,000 people after 5 years. And in these grants, it's people have to demonstrate their readiness to receive the grants, their ability to implement the plan that they're proposing, their commitment to following through on it, and their current economic condition that they're in, and they have to articulate that. And so I think part of the grant and part of what makes this unique is we're like trying to articulate what's possible, trying to articulate the impact that you're trying to see, on your community too. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you for explaining that. I know more people are coming in, and they're all looking at you like they want to talk to you. So I don't want to pull you away from people for too much longer. But I'm enjoying this conversation. We're going to go around and talk to more of the staff later. But I do want to give you a chance to share more.
You have to ask one more question. Let's move over here.
Okay. I know. Okay, yeah, this is a good spot. Okay.
So, yeah, that's a little better. Maybe people feel less awkward.
Yeah.
People are like, everybody's bucky,
I know, everybody's ducking.
But I can smell that fried bread, so I'm coming anyway. So, the question I wanted you to ask was, how come this grant this particular grant is only in
North Dakota. Oh, I was going to ask that.
Okay.
Yep, that's definitely on our list. Cool. All right, so because that's been a hot one. That one came up in our social media comments right away. Like as soon as we posted that this grant opportunity was live on all of our platforms, people are like, well, why not Colorado? Why not states that our people have been relocated to, knowing that indigenous diaspora exists and we've moved all over? Why is this grant, unlike many of our other grants, only available to people in North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota?
Because this is the land of the Oceti Sakowin. And in 1876, we captured the American flag in battle, and we still got that shit. So I figured, why not have a grant program that celebrates that? Okay, that's
that ain't the real answer.
That's not the real answer, but I'm a wild Oglala, so I gotta flex every once in a while. So the real reason why is because our funding partner for this particular grant, the Bush Foundation out of St. Paul, Minnesota, their geographic footprint is the areas of North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota. Come back.
I am coming back.
All right. And the 23 Native nations that share that geography. And so this grant that was given to us had very few restrictions because we got to fully design the program consistent with our mission statement. So we got to design it. But one of the ones is in the bylaws of the funder, their money has to go to that region.
Yeah.
And so that's the reason why it's limited, to North Dakota, South Dakota, and Minnesota. And so that was like a key, that's the only reason why. I mean, to be honest, if we, and for us, it's like, I would look at this as a pilot program, because the reality is what we're doing here, regional funders could be doing this in partnership with nonprofits and communities and tribes all across America, wherever their footprint is. And we jumped at this opportunity to partner with them and to deliver this because NDN had already been doing grant making. We had already had a indigenous woman-led grant making team. We had capacity. We understood this region really well. We had partnered with the Bush Foundation, other areas, and we felt like we could do a good job at this. And we were deeply embedded in many communities. We kind of know what's going on in this region, both through our community organizing work, our movement work, our grant making work, our narrative work, all the stuff that NDN does. So that's really the only reason why. It's a very specific reason, because some funders, right, some foundations are bound by their bylaws, depending on where their resources came from, if they're allowed to contribute to things outside of their geographic area. And so that was really one of the only real conditions that we had, But I like my first answer. I like my first answer better. That one made me feel good,
Yeah, Oceti Sakowin will like that answer too.
Yeah.
They'll like that too.
All you wild Oglalas and Oceti Sakowin people, I'm sure you're war whooping wherever you're at, just waiting for the moment to say that.
On that though, that's actually something like that unique requirement for this grant is really unique because all of our other grant making and funding opportunities are not limited to geographic region. And that's a part of like how we fundraise, like our model. Can you talk about how like generally outside of this grant that restriction doesn't exist?
Yeah, generally it doesn't. I mean, NDN collectives politics are, we don't recognize the colonial borders that divide indigenous nations. And so we didn't know how to do grant making internationally, but we learned, right? Because we don't prioritize or recognize the colonial borders. Are you going to the game?
Yeah.
I'll see you there. Are the doors open at 5?
I think so.
Okay.
We just have to pick people up and...
All right, well, we'll see you over there. There's a wicked game happening here in Minnelusa tonight.
Oh.
It is...
What is it?
Central, so AA, Central versus Stevens.
Oh.
Sodak 16. The winner goes on to The winner goes on to state tournament.
Cool.
AA state
Probably
tournament.
natives on both teams.
There's natives on both teams, and my daughter Valik Fallis is starting tonight. So as soon as
What time? What time?
The game's at 6.
Okay.
So
What time is it?
it's 4:45. So I'm
Okay.
leaving here in 15 minutes because
Okay.
that's going to be a thing.
Maybe
to get a
we'll be
seat
there. Okay.
But yeah, so like all of the other grant making programs that Indian Collective has, community self-determination grant, that is all of Turtle Island. We fund everything. We fund folks in Mexico, so-called in Mexico, so-called Canada, Puerto Rico, Guam, American Samoa, all of Turtle Island, Hawaii, Alaska, Oceti Sakowin, Dene, and even Anishinaabes too. Even the Passamaquoddy. I mean, we fund so many different territories, and the uniqueness of their culture and their places and the spirit of their people and where their movement is at. Because resources are needed everywhere. And most of our resources are discretionary. Most of them are resources being invested into the self-determination of those communities, and they're flexible. And so, we have different funders who have different areas. So we have a few funders who don't, funds can't be spent outside the United States because they're bound by the same rules and laws. That doesn't mean we don't do programming outside of that area. It just means that their funds, we keep those inside the United States, and the other funding that we get that's more flexible, then we use that money in, Canada, so-called Canada, Mexico, the other areas outside the boundaries of, the United States. So, we're just Indian scrappy. Indian is a movement organization that came up from the dirt and the ground at Pine Ridge and then in this community, and we know that our people deserve and need to get resources, and so we get creative. We get creative in working with our philanthropic partners to figure out how to get these resources to the communities and to the people. And so far we've done it at a pretty big scale, and we've done it at a scale that is bigger and faster than anybody who's ever done it in history, from the ground up, and we're proud of that. And that movement, that resources are going to the movement. That those resources are going to direct indigenous people. Everywhere that I travel. I like his hat. Everywhere. I like when we travel, because a lot of times I don't even know all the resources that have went to a community. I'll go to a community, people will tell me, "Oh, hey, you guys helped with this community center. You guys helped with this because, we have this all-in indigenous women grant-making team that do the heavy lifting of dispersing these resources." It just so works out that, the matriarchs are leading that work here and are responsible for leading that work. So when you're there applying for grants, just remember it's another native person on the other end of that who's been through the struggle, who probably grew up on kamads, who did the whole pilot bread with peanut butter too,
Maybe they had silver teeth. Maybe they grew up with silver teeth.
Hey, I just had that period of time where that's all they did, So, but yeah. I guess, the last thing I wanted to say, because I have to run to the basketball game, is as people apply for this, remember the people you're applying for is not some white organization far away from the problem. The people on the other end of that are native people that are from here, native people that are from their homelands, that are in their homelands, in their communities. They're your aunties, they're your sisters, they're your cousins, they're your relatives. And so treat them as such. Stewarding these resources, it's hard to tell people no. We get thousands of applications for all of our different grant-making programs, and if they could, the grant-making team at Indian Collective and the aunties, they would give that money away to everybody. We need more. We'll give it away to everybody. That's their mentality, because they see everybody as relatives. But they go through a process to decide who gets grants and who doesn't, and it's really hard on them. And I would encourage people who don't get funded to keep applying, because sometimes the only reason you didn't get funding is not because your application wasn't good. It's just because there's a bigger need that exists than the resources we have, even though that we're doing it at a scale that's pretty large. And so be a good relative. Treat the folks, when you email, when you ask questions, they're not the enemy. They're our people doing this work to liberate these resources. And so just wanted to say that on behalf of them, because I see them as my aunties, my honkashis, my cousins, my sisters, my relatives, and just ask that on behalf of them too, because they carry a lot. They carry a lot of that, the weight of that too, because they know that for certain families, this is life-changing things. Some people get the resources, some people don't. So we're doing our best that we can to serve our communities and work with our people.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, Nick. I know you got a basketball game to go to, but appreciated this conversation, and we'll be walking through and talking to some of the people you mentioned, some of the matriarchs of the Collective Abundance Fund and the foundation team. So, yeah.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much.
All right. Well,
all right.
Doksha, everybody, and hey, everybody who gives Indian Collective love out there, we appreciate you. Those of you that hate on us, shit, man. We're doing our best out here. Where you at? We're doing our best out here to make a difference for our people. And to all the keyboard warriors who never make it to the front line, it's come out sometime. Come out and march with the people. And those of you who can't, you're always in our prayers too. So, Doksha Ake.
Yeah, thank you, Nick.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right, so that was Indian Collective President and CEO Nick Tilson. We've been live here at the Collective Abundance Fund launch party, and now we're going to actually go over to Indian Collective's Associate Director of Indian Foundation, Teresa Peterson, and she's going to talk a little bit more about this grant, and she'll also be talking about the community engagement process, because this grant was actually designed after a year-long process of going into indigenous communities in Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, and talking to the people, getting on the ground and saying, what does indigenous wealth mean to you? This grant was actually co-created and designed by all of that feedback, by engaging in a number of surveys to help build this grant opportunity to be what it is today. And so, now we'll go over to Auntie Terry, one of the matriarchs behind the Collective Abundance Fund.
So the Collective Abundance Fund is as much of a social justice movement as it is a grant program to address the wealth gap. The Bush Foundation took a bold step in allocating $100 million to Black and Indigenous communities to address the wealth gap across the tri-state area, and did that through the development of these community trust funds. I think we're all pretty familiar with the wealth inequities across our communities in home ownership, education, business infrastructure, just for some examples. And these inequities, though, are really founded upon land theft and slavery, and they continue to be upheld by the racist systems and policies that our capitalist system operates from. So in 2022, Indian Collective took some time to be out in community in planning and designing and listening to our relatives who helped shape this program. They, over 5,000 individuals shared their thoughts on what the program should look like, what should be supported, how much should the grant amounts be, what requirements there should be. But the most important question really to me was how we define wealth. We knew that our communities, our relatives really look at wealth in a different way than our Western and capitalist view, that really is founded upon extractive economies that bring harm to people and Mother Earth. And so we wanted to hear about that. We wanted to find out how do we define wealth? And so what resulted was that indigenous wealth definition. And so, like I said, this is both a grant opportunity to really transform lives, as it is about rebuilding indigenous wealth based on that definition. This is really a call to action, both in the redistribution of wealth, as it is in addressing the policies that continue to uphold the inequities. I encourage folks to look on our website for more information. They can read about that Community Voices report and learn more about this movement. Pidamaya. Yeah, so the collective.
Steph, can you hear me? Okay. Hey everyone, welcome back. Sarah here at Indian Collective, and we are at the Collective Abundance Fund launch party here in Miniluzaha at the Indian Collective headquarters. And if you're just now joining us, we're here at this launch party that started at 3 o'clock p.m. We're going until 7, and we're here to answer questions, engage with the community about this exciting grant opportunity, one of Indian Collective's grants that just launched today, the Collective Abundance Fund. It's a really exciting grant opportunity because it is to individuals in the tri-state region of Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, and individuals and families are eligible to receive grants of $25,000 or $50,000 to build generational wealth on indigenous terms. And so it's a really exciting opportunity for people to apply for this grant. It is a two-step process where you have to first register, and you can do that here on site, and then you have to apply. The registration deadline is April 17th, so a little over a month that you have. You don't have to be here to register. You can actually go to our website, indiancollective.org, and Auntie Terry just mentioned that we launched our new website, so check out our new website. You'll actually see a lot of our work there. You could go to, when you go to our website, indiancollective.org, which will actually drop in the chat, I think it's already been dropped there, go to the grants tab, and it will drop, there's a drop-down menu, you'll see all of our grants, and select Collective Abundance Fund. You'll go to that page, and all of the information that we're offering people up here, to people here today, is going to be available on our site, in addition to some webinars. Continue to follow our page, follow or read through that website. Like, a lot of people sometimes, like, might not have the patience to read through. It might be tricky, it might be confusing. If it is, you can actually come to one of our Navigator hubs, which we'll be talking about here in a little bit. Navigator hubs are going to be set up in all 3 states, where there's going to be people on site to help you apply, because the articulating your vision, that can be really difficult, and we want to be able to help you guys out. So we're going to actually walk through and show you the space, because we've been stuck here at the front. So we'll walk through and show you what's going on. And then we're going to make our way to the back where you can register. So here's the food. Come have some snacks with us. Come have some food. Some people are up here at the front just visiting. I think most of the people here have registered. So come in. Coming back through here, here's the hallway that you're going to come through. So this is where our team is set up to help you with registration. So everyone back here, this is our Collective Abundance Fund team. You'll see some people registering, so we're going to actually come here to the side. But we'll give you a quick preview of what's going on. And so here are 2 members of our Collective Abundance Fund team. And we're going to be chatting with them here in a second. But let's come through here. We'll give you an idea of what this space is like too. So earlier today, when we just started this event at 3, this place was just so packed. It was really, really cool to see. There are actually people here really early, ready to apply or register. So what happens first when you register, you'll get some information to start the full application. So I can't stress enough, it is a 2-part process. So some people might register and think you're done, but there's actually more to it. And we're going to talk to the team about what that process is like. But yeah, earlier today, if you check out our stories on Instagram and Facebook, you'll see like a line. There was a line. Things have definitely slowed down. People are getting out of work, so there's been like another group of people that have come through. But now we're going to talk to the team. So we'll talk to the team of the Collective Abundance Fund staff who are here helping people to register. So here's the registration table. You guys had a bunch of bags here. Did you guys already run out of your bags?
We still have bags, our
Oh, okay.
Collective Abundance bags. We've got an informational packet with all our frequently asked questions and a pen and some good details and Navigator hub information. That's something that we're really trying to promote is our Navigator hubs. They're all throughout the tri-state area, and all the information is in here, so you can come on down. Or we have them distributed all through the hubs and through like Minnesota. I'll be traveling back to Minnesota. I can do my introduction as well.
Yeah. I'm so sorry. I forgot to ask you to introduce
No,
yourself. So
that's
tell us who you are
Yeah,
and what
so-
you do.
Yep, so I'm Haley Prokop. I'm the grants manager on our grants management team. And I am on the back end. We are handling the registrations, the applications, updating information. And so right now this is a record-breaking launch. We've got over 600 registrations so far, and so we appreciate your patience and grace in this time. I think that's all I got.
Yeah. So how many people do you think came through here so far? Just like any estimation as to how many, like I know some people registered online once we announced the launch, but how many people do you think came through here so far that you guys registered?
I would say probably about 150.
Wow.
Yeah, people were doing it on their phones, and then we were manually helping others get their registration submitted.
Awesome. That's amazing. I didn't give you, if you could introduce yourself.
Hi relatives, my name is Marissa Snyder. I'm a Guala Shichangun Hupapa Lakota. I am the new grants associate in the Indian Foundation Constellation. I'm just really proud to be here with Indian Collective. I'm really proud to be able to do this work and grateful for all of you.
So Marissa and Haley, what has been like the engagement or the interaction with people like so far that have come? Obviously, like things have slowed down. It was so packed I couldn't even get through this door earlier. There were so many people. But what are some of the things that you noticed or that were kind of like highlights of the first wave of people that have come through to register?
Yeah, that there's a lot of people with big dreams, and they are really grateful that there's the navigators to help them that are returning registers or applicants from last year, and so they're really here to like learn and figure out what's going to make their application viable. And so we're excited and grateful to have hubs and navigators that are able to teach them.
Yeah, so people let you know that they're returning and they applied last year? That's great.
Absolutely, yeah. A lot of people coming in that are doing combination applications, or they have common goals, I should say. So like a wife and a husband, they can come in and do their individual applications, and we link that together within the application for their common goal.
Yeah. For those people that are wondering about like this first process for registration, what do you think is important for people to know about just this first step of registration?
Yes, so it is a two-step process. We are doing where they come in and they do the registration, and then they receive an email within 24 to 72 hours. And so sometimes that waiting time is important just to prepare your application and get your information on paper and situated. So then once you do gain access to the application, you are ready to go, or at least have a plan and process.
Yeah.
And so that can take a little while. The grant launch, the grant end date is April 24th, and so we give you a significant time. There's significant time to get that application.
Yeah. And so then the earlier you register, the more time you have to work on your application, right? Because if you, registration deadline is the 17th of April?
Correct.
Right? And then a week later is the application. And so if you're on Indian time and you wait till the 17th to do that registration, it gives you less time. And knowing that there are so many people applying for this, like it's just wise to start early. It's wise to get that help, like to come to the Navigator hubs, to come here to Indian Collective. to come to this event. Pose some questions in the chat. If we don't get to them during this live stream, we could definitely do our best to answer them later. But how else do people ask questions if they have questions for your team?
Yeah, through our grants info email. So it's grantsinfo@ndncollective.org, and that's our centralized hub to filter out questions, get them to the right people, to our program officers, so we can get you guys the answers you need.
Yeah. Anything else that is important for like either of you to share about this process for people who are interested in applying or registering?
Don't be shy. Apply. You know, I mean, we're already doing our part and getting our registrations pushed through, and so just get your dream on paper, and don't be shy.
Yeah, and for people like you said who applied last year, like come back, like just
absolutely.
don't give up, and
Yes, keep applying. You know, we are doing our best to push everything quickly, but you know, the chance is a one in a lifetime to receive this grant, so it's definitely worth it.
yeah. Well, thank you so much, Marissa and Haley. We're going to go back and talk to Star and Sharon a bit more too. Okay.
Thank you.
We'll see you guys. All right, so that was our registration table. Just to reiterate again and again, register early. Registration deadline is April 17th, and then the application deadline, you'll then get an application, and you have until the 24th. But the earlier you register, the earlier you get that full application. But now we're going to go talk to some more of the Indian Collective, our Collective Abundance Fund team, to tell us more about the application process. All right, so here are some more of the matriarchs of this work. So maybe we'll just go around and have you guys introduce yourselves. Could we do that really quickly? We'll just do a quick round of introductions and I'll pass you guys the mic. And then we'll come back to you for the first questions.
Okay. Sharon Pazi Makiapie. I am Dakota. I'm Sisitawan Wapetawan, and I'm at Pajuta ZZ, Upper Sioux Community in Minnesota. I am the Collective Abundance Program Officer, or Minnesota Program Officer, but I'm also transitioning into the Program Manager.
Hi, I'm Star Means. I am Oglala Lakota from Pine Ridge, South Dakota. I am the South Dakota Program Officer for the Collective Abundance team.
Hello, I'm Frances McKay. You can call me Franny. I am Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian Community, and I am Spirit Lake Dakota. I am the North Dakota Program Officer for the Collective Abundance Fund.
All right, you could just hold on to that because actually I'm mic'd up here. And I'll just ask you guys some more questions. And so these are the beautiful women who are a part of this process. As Nick was sharing earlier, like some people forget that, you know, of this pile of applications that come in, that there are real Native people connected to community handling that massive pile of applications. And these are some of the women who are doing that work. But let's start, Sharon, with you. Can you tell us a bit about why this particular grant is really unique? How it is unique and how it is like a really different opportunity that might not have existed before?
Right. Yeah, the Collective Abundance Fund is a real unique opportunity because it's focusing on rematriating wealth, you know, that was taken actually by the foundations, and so we're trying to rematriate that wealth back to our people and our communities. And so we went out and did community engagement and created our wealth definition for our indigenous wealth definition that is focused on family and not the capitalistic systems of, you know, hoarding money, basically. And so this is a really unique opportunity for individuals and families to close that wealth gap and to be able to build generational wealth.
Yeah, and Sharon, you were a part of that community engagement process where we went out into communities, surveyed the people to help co-create this grant. What are some of the things that you remember? What are some of the things that came from that survey, that community engagement survey, in terms of how the indigenous people surveyed in Minnesota, North Dakota, and South Dakota defined wealth on indigenous terms?
Well, I have the definition
cool.
here. So let me read that for you. I did have it right here. showing that full name, obviously. What time is it? 5:17. Was it?
Yeah, about a half hour.
Oh, it's all right.
No, you're good.
To the good stuff. If you were with us earlier, we are at the Collective Abundance Fund launch party here at the Indian HQ in Miniluzaha, Rapid City. And I was just getting into a conversation with the Collective Abundance Fund staff here, and Sharon was just in the middle of reading this definition of indigenous wealth that came from the community engagement process. And then I think our camera went down. But just we like to pick up where we left off, and so I was in the middle of asking Sharon like what came of that community engagement process when we went into communities and we surveyed. I think it was like maybe over 5,000 indigenous people in Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota to help us really design this grant process and this grant opportunity. And one of the main things we wanted to do, because this grant is for supporting people build generational wealth on their terms, we wanted to come up with an indigenous definition that wasn't on colonizer terms, but what does indigenous wealth mean to our people? What did it mean historically, pre-colonization? What did it mean to have like abundance in your community, abundance in your home, family, relatives, well-being, not just as an individual, but collectively. And so part of that community engagement process resulted in this definition that you were just getting ready to share. Okay, back to you with the definition.
All right, the definition, the indigenous definition of wealth, is a quality of life and mindset that encircles family and community, well-being and the care of relationships of self, family, extended family, community, land, and environment, and a spirit of generosity. Money is a tool to support basic needs of safety, food, shelter, and education, and bring financial security and self-determination so one can live a good life, abundant in social and cultural sharing.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sharon. So that definition was created, and then shortly after that, after the community engagement process last year, we launched the first application round.
Yes.
And we just finished that, right? Like people were just awarded in fall. Oh, the first one?
Yeah, we're still in the first round.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I thought that, I mean, I guess maybe to clarify, the first year, in the first year when people were applying, those awards have already been awarded out? Or?
They have been awarded out. We're still in the award year.
Oh, I see.
So we haven't closed out the first year yet.
Got it. Good clarification. So the awards have been announced and made to those individuals, but they have a year in the program. Okay.
Yeah, they have a year to complete their wealth building goal.
Got it. So on that note, like I'd love to hear a bit about what that first year was like for you all. I know that there were probably highs and lows, like just knowing that this is an exciting opportunity. You know, we've already heard like the great stories of our people being really, really excited. People just being excited about the conversation. I was a part of those community engagement like visits and surveys where people were like just really inspired by the question. What does it mean to dream of what abundance would be like? That put everybody in like this really beautiful frame of mind. And then you go into the application year itself, where you guys get like a massive number of applications, knowing that you can't award everybody. Can you talk about what some of the highs and some of the lows, if you will, or challenges were of that first learning year?
Yeah, I can share some, and then I'll pass it on to Star, because she was a part of that first year as well. So some of the highs and lows for me was to, I guess one of the lows was that we had 863 applications and we could only award 200, and not being able to award all of them, all the ones that applied to close that wealth building gap. And so that, for me, that was a low, because you want to help everybody. But and one of the highs, there's so many highs, because you had people, you had families and individuals purchasing their family land back, purchasing housing, getting out of debt so they can, move on to their next step in life. And so to be able to support families and individuals and being able to create that family generational wealth was a true high for myself. Also, just work-wise, reading 800 applications was a lot, and making those decisions. But we have a great process. We have a fair process that we use, and we also use people within the community to help do reviews. So it's just not, our staff. We reach out to community also to support.
So real quick on that, there were other application reviewers from other communities, and then there was also the Regional Advisory Committee.
Correct.
And they also represent all various communities across the tri-state region. So it definitely wasn't like, just this crew here sifting through these applications. It was a process of like bringing in several others from the community.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
Some of the highs and lows that I experienced during the first year, I'll start with my high, but I think calling folks and letting them know that they were being awarded this grant, that was just really inspirational to me. But not only that, there were a few times where some tears definitely fell because of how thankful people were to be able to receive this grant. That's probably my biggest high, because it just actually showed, that this is really going to have an impact on our people and the ones that were awarded. Like Sharon said, what the lows, I think, were not being able to fund more than 200 applicants. When you have over 800 applications, 200 is kind of like a drop in a bucket, So it was really hard making decisions on funding and, getting down to the 200, because you'd really like to fund them all if we had the capacity to do so.
Yep. What were some of the other things that, you all experienced on the back end of the process that like a lot of people out there don't necessarily think about as people who are applying? Like any other unique, just like insights that you can share about what it's really like to be on that back end of managing this process?
Yeah, there's, it's a lot to process 800 applications. And it takes a lot of time to be able to read and then also coordinate with the other reviewers, like the RAC and the other community members that came in to help, and to have the the capacity to do that. So those, I would say that was one of the biggest challenges, and we learned a lot of lessons during that time, and so we also have a lot of refinements. We learned that some of the questions needed to be refined, so we refined some of our questions, and we needed a little bit longer time to review the grants. So we've listed all of the refinements that we needed to create during that time, because we want every year to be better than the next.
Yeah. So that's really great to hear too, that like feedback was taken, feedback was incorporated. There's always this process of refinement within the team. One of the questions that has come in to us, like on the public side of things, where people are engaging in social media posts, is some people want to know if they registered last year, do they have to register again this year?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you have to register every year.
Yep. So entirely new year, entirely new registration, login.
Yep. They can still use their same email address, and they'll receive a new username and password 24 to 72 hours after they do this year's registration.
Yeah. Okay. Another thing that I want to spend a little more time talking about, that we touched on a little bit throughout this conversation tonight, is the Navigator hubs. So one thing we know for sure is that like applying for anything like paperwork can be really tedious. It is even for me. Like I hate paperwork. It can be really overwhelming as soon as you see a bunch of lines and a bunch of words, and we know that for our people that can also be really overwhelming, and we don't want to limit people who don't have the best experience with technology, or maybe they don't have a laptop. What are some of the ways that Navigator hubs are creating accessibility for people that want to apply and might need extra support?
Well, first I would like to say that everything for the application to apply is on our website and also on a webinar. So we try to cover it so people can obtain all the information, either just for the application itself from the website and through listening or watching. So we really try to cover all that to make it available to everyone. For the hubs, I'm going to turn it over to Star to give her some time, and she can share about the hubs.
So the Navigator hubs came about just because we realized that people may need help with their application or uploading documents, different things like that, which the Navigator hubs are from the communities, their organizations, their tribal colleges, and they've really taken the time to adjust their schedules to be a navigator and cover a week long of technical assistance. So we really think they're going to be really instrumental in this year's process, and we hope that this is something that's successful for us and for them as well.
Yeah,
because it also leads to them leveraging resources, like if it's a native CDFI, they can really leverage the resource, the grant that we give on top of their lending products. Maybe they're doing home ownership or something like that. So it's an opportunity for leveraging resources as well.
Yeah. And if people register early, that gives them that time to go to the Navigator hubs to get help. I know that sometimes when people do things last minute, you don't have that same opportunity to go out and get help. It kind of falls on you, and maybe you miss a document, and maybe your application isn't submitted as strong as you would have liked it to have been. Can you tell us, Star, where all the Navigator hubs are? And then I think we actually have some videos that we'll go to after this from 3 of the Navigator hubs that are available.
Sure. So we are a Navigator hub, Indian Collective. We will help with technical assistance April 15th through the 19th. Our team will be back here, so it'll be us 3 here from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m. Lakota Funds down in Kyle, our Little Wound, South Dakota, March 25th through 29th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And they're doing that at the Lakota Arts Center. And then Sichangu Ko on the Rosebud Reservation is doing navigators from April 13th through 15th, April 13th and 15th through the 19th at various times. They're also open to Zoom if you lack transportation, and that's in Mission, South Dakota. Do you want to announce Minnesota?
Yes, so the Minnesota ones are the Tiwahe Foundation, and they'll be providing support March 25th to the 29th from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then the one up north is American Indian Community Housing Organization, ACO, and they'll be doing April 1st through the 6th. April 1st and 2nd between 4 and 7 p.m. and the 3rd through the 6th between noon and 3 p.m. And then the Southern Navigator Hub of Minnesota is Dakota Wichocha, and that is April 1st through the 5th from 2 to 6 p.m. And we'll let Franny do.
So for the North Dakota Navigator hubs, we only have 2 this year. It'll be Turtle Mountain Community College on April 8th to the 12th from 4:30 to 6:30 at Turtle Mountain Community College Training Room with Robin Poitra and McCall Brown. And Chandeska Chicana Community College, March 25th to the 28th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. right at the college. Again, at Chandeska Chicana Community College, and Zachariah Allen will be the contact there as well.
This is also available on our website under the Navigator Hubs and Navigators tab.
Yeah, thank you, Star. And so remember, go to our website, indiancollective.org, hit the grants tab. There will be a drop-down menu, hit Collective Abundance Fund, and all this information is there. You guys mentioned Navigator Hubs. You mentioned the webinar. So make sure to don't just scroll through that really quickly and hit the apply or register button. Go through and really take advantage of the resources that are on that page. Watch that webinar. And one of the things that we sometimes find is that we put those webinars there and people don't necessarily take the time to watch them. There's really, really good information in there. So definitely watch that first, and that'll probably answer a lot of your questions. There's a screen that will show you exactly what to do. Also, we mentioned at the registration table, there's grantsinfo@indiancollective.org, and I know that we put that email in our chat too. And so there's a number of different ways that we're here to support you all, trying to create radical accessibility, trying to create the support system that we know can be really, really helpful. We want to make sure that people know that, you don't necessarily have to be tech savvy to apply for this. We're here to help you. So with that, we're actually going to cut to a few of our Navigator hubs in all 3 of these states, in the tri-state region, which all of these women represent, coming from each respective state. And so we'll hear from one of the Navigator hubs in Minnesota, one from North Dakota, and one from South Dakota. So we'll go over to that video now.
Hello everyone, my name is Jillian Wan. I am Sichanga Lakota. I'm the
All right, Alan. Yeah, you can rest. set it down.
We still do individual navigators.
What is that? We can talk about that next year.
We still.
How are you? How's your back? We got to get you a massage after this.
I appreciate the break.
I know.
We are really excited to share
Your mic on.
which is located just half a mile outside of Mission. Navigator Hub for those that are located on or around Sichanga Makoche. We have a very friendly group of staff that are very much looking forward to supporting our relatives with technical support through registration for the Collective Abundance Fund that Indian Collective is offering. We have many options available for assistance both in person and virtually through Zoom. There will be a Saturday option available April 13th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. That one will be in person only. And then the week of April 15th through the 19th, which is Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. There will be both in person and the Zoom option available. There will also be 2 late evening options available on Tuesday, April 16th, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. in person and Zoom. And then Thursday, April 18th, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. in person and the Zoom option available as well. So there are lots of times to choose from if you need assistance. We are really excited for this opportunity that Indian Collective has brought to our community, and we promise to do our very best in providing the technical support that you might need in order to apply. Wopila, thank you. Hello everyone,
Hello, my name is Zach Allen and I'm an English instructor at Chandeska-Chicana Community College in Fort Totten, North Dakota. We serve the Spirit Lake Nation, a Dakota Nation. We are inviting you to join us in an informational training on Indians Collective Grant Opportunity, the Collective Abundance Fund. Collectively, this is an opportunity for us as community partners to leverage our mission and service to Indigenous families and communities. Come learn about the grant program, requirements, how your collective constituency of Indigenous relatives could apply for the Indigenous Wealth Building Opportunity, and the navigation role we can support. Indian Collective will provide the training, a social media toolkit, printed materials, including the enclosed Collective Abundance Program summary to share across your network. Their team will also share information on the incentive provided to individual navigators for awarded applications. If you are interested in learning more about being an individual navigator, we will host an informational training March 5th at 9 a.m. at Chandeska-Chicana Community College. Additionally, as an identified navigator hub to the Collective Abundance Fund this year, Chandeska-Chicana Community College will be offering individual technical assistance and application support to interested applicants during the week of March 25th through the 28th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. here on our campus. Come learn how you can refer potential applicants to receive this support or how you too may serve as a navigator. For questions, please contact me, Zach Allen, at 701-766-1115. That's Zach Allen, 701-766-1115.
Al-Mitakuepi. My name is Christopher Charging Eagle, and I'm the media specialist down at Dakota Wichoha. We are a Dakota language resource center based in the Lower Sioux Indian community. Dakota Wichoha is the Dakota way of life, and we are dedicated into revitalizing and reinstilling those ideals into our young ones. We do this by taking our children out to parades. Most recently, we went on a missing and murdered Indigenous relative support walk. Dakota Wichoha is the Dakota way of life, and our way of life is to help our relatives and our friends to get up to par to where they need to be in life. We are going to be a navigator hub for everybody to come and find out more information on this grant. Our Navigator Support Week will be from April 1st to April 5th from 2 to 6 p.m. We will be down here to help you. You can also contact Priscilla Grundeman at priscillad@dakotawichohan.com. We are located in 230 West 2nd Street in Morton, Minnesota. Al-Mitakuepi. My name is Christopher.
To hear from 3 of the different Navigator hubs, which we were just talking about. They are places that you can go to get support in applying for the Collective Abundance Fund. We also put in the chat of our live stream the link to go to get the exact list. I know we just read them off here, but if you want to see that list, there's a couple places you can go. You can go to indiancollective.org, select the grants tab, select the Collective Abundance Fund tab, and scroll down to find the Navigator Hub information. You could also go to our social media pages, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, and we posted all of the Navigator locations and all of the Navigator dates as well. But there's actually more about the Navigator hubs that we wanted to talk about here too. So could you tell us more about individual navigators?
Yeah, so we still really want to support the aunties and, our relatives that can really help support our applicants. So the individual navigators are still a thing this year. And for every successful application, they'll receive $500 if they have the Navigator form filled out with a wet signature and uploaded, and if the application is awarded. So I just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that individual navigators are still supported.
Great, yeah, thank you for sharing that. So in many ways that we're doing our best to support people who are interested in applying. Sharon, you had some more really valuable information and stats from those who were awarded last year. So of the 200 that were awarded, what could you tell us about
last year? What I can tell you is last year we had 1,935 people register for the application and 863 completed applications that were reviewed. Of that, we awarded $7.9 million into the community, and 19 of those were in North Dakota, 128 in South Dakota, and 53 in Minnesota. So of that, 116 of them were for $50,000, and 84 of them were for $25,000. So
that's amazing. A couple of other things that we briefly touched on were some of the stories that you heard from the people who were awarded. Do either of you want to share any more about some of those really powerful moments when those individuals were awarded and what that was like, making those calls to let them know they were awarded, and what it was like for them to be able to realize some of the plans and the dreams that they put into their application?
Yeah, I think you're going to try and make us cry now. A lot of tears were shed. One of them, that stuck out to me is I called this gentleman to let him know that he was awarded, and he I'm always going to want to cry. He literally dropped to his knees and was just saying, "Thank you, thank you, thank you. You are helping my family." And there's so many stories like that. I know Star has some, and another one was a kunshi, a grandma. We were talking, and I let her know that she was being recommended, and she went in to a different room and started crying. And so it was just really makes me emotional because I can recall those conversations, and it's knowing that that Collective Abundance is a huge impact on our families and our communities. So I'll let Star share.
For me, the most impactful story was this lady that I had called, and not every situation is like home ownership or business, but this family or this lady was buying land back that was fee land that was sold. It was her grandpa's land, and whenever I had called her to recommend, tell her that she had been recommended, she was like, "Oh my God, mom, I get to buy grandpa's land back." And I'm gonna cry now too. And the mother just started screaming and crying because it was her dad's land that they were buying back. And so for me, it's more than just home ownership and business, but our people are literally getting their land back. So that was just a really impactful story. I know we have stories of food trucks where single mothers are able to purchase food trucks and still be able to take care of their children while also, employing their children and having them work on the food trucks. So there's so many impactful stories, and I cannot wait until this first year's done and we actually get to see the data and the impact that we have made with dispersing this money and matriating this money back into our communities.
Yeah, those are such beautiful stories, and what they make me think about is how, like, the name of this grant opportunity being collective abundance, like, these individuals demonstrated that this isn't just going to enrich their lives, but there is this communal impact. There is this ripple effect, that it's not just about their individualistic, or according to like American capitalistic terms, like self-enrichment, but it's about what they can do for their family, their community, long-term, generational, indigenous wealth building. And what did wealth mean to us? It meant having resources, being well-fed, being nourished, being spiritually nourished, knowing that our relatives were happy. We had homes, we had the things that we needed. And so those are just like really beautiful examples of how each of the stories that you mentioned had to do with, like, they're so much more than themselves. It was about their families. And Star, you also touched on this phrase that we use a lot here about, like, rematriating wealth, which I think is important to just spend a moment elaborating on, because what Indian Collective is doing and what we've done in the past 6 years is so different that sometimes people don't believe that we're really doing what we're doing. Some people think it's not real, maybe they're skeptical, maybe they think it's a scam. But in the past 6 years, Indian Collective has rematriated $82 million from rich philanthropists in the world who have built their wealth on the backs of slave labor, on the backs of stolen indigenous lands and resources. And prior to Indian Collective, philanthropy, only 0.3% of philanthropic money, that's just like extra money in the world, went to indigenous people in the US, knowing that we make up approximately 2%. So we didn't even have parity. We didn't even have 2% of philanthropic dollars coming to our community. So that money exists, and I think our people, we've been colonized to believe that there's not enough. There's scarcity. We've been so systemically oppressed, economically oppressed, that we're used to having very little. We were deprived of our abundance, deprived of our wealth. So I think there is that little bit of disbelief that this can't be real. This grant opportunity can't be real. But what we're built on, our theory of change and our mission, is to rematriate that wealth. Knowing that these are our lands, we have a right to abundance. We have a right to live a good life. And those stories that you shared, like, all of our people have a right to feel that happiness and that joy, because their lives are going to be good. Their needs are going to be taken care of, their basic needs. And so at Indian Collective, we're doing our best to make that happen. But we're just one small organization. This is just one grant. Like we mentioned, in the past year, $7.9 million went out to indigenous people in the tri-state region for this grant last year, but $82 million total has gone to communities, indigenous businesses, tribal nations, change makers, frontline organizations fighting. And so one of the things I want to lift up really quickly too is all of Indian Collective's grants. We have the Community Action Fund, which launched in January, that's available for frontline fights across Turtle Island and surrounding island nations. Are you fighting to protect your land? Are you fighting for indigenous justice? The Community Action Fund is also open right now until the end of the year. There's also the Community Self-Determination Fund, which is available and will be launching a little bit later this year. There's also, Community Self-Determination, Community Action, Collective Abundance, Indian Changemaker, that's available to 21 or 22, I can't remember, indigenous changemakers across Turtle Island from all different regions. And then there's also the Radical Imagination Grant for indigenous artists also across Turtle Island. And so we're doing our best. We're doing our best here at Indian Collective to rematriate those funds and put them back out to the people, because our people deserve that. We deserve that. We deserve well-being. There is abundance out there. Here at Indian Collective, we believe in that, and we push back against this notion of scarcity, knowing that there's enough out there in the world, and our people, I think, deserve it on our own lands for sure. But with that, I know that we've been running through this program for a long time, and shout out to our cameraman, Alan, holding up the camera. Alan's been holding up that camera for a long time. Another member of our all indigenous team of storytellers. We like to bring insights to you guys from an indigenous perspective, an indigenous movement lens, knowing that we come from the communities too. Alan from behind the camera. We got Willie and Steph, members of the Diné Nation, Oglala, Lakota people, O'odham people, I'm Shoshone and Paiute, and we got a bunch of our team remotely behind the scenes too who like to bring these stories to you guys from our own people. A couple of other things like I want to make sure we touch on the Collective Abundance Fund, and then I'd love to give you guys an opportunity to share some last words too, is that, take this process very seriously. Take it very seriously. Like, this is a massive opportunity, $25,000 or $50,000. So take care in submitting your things on time. Take care in drafting that application, knowing that last year there were over 1,000 registrations and 800 applications, and only 200 were awarded. So take your time, take care, take advantage of the people who are going to help you guys to apply. Also, make sure your email is cleared, because sometimes we get bounce backs of like their inbox is full. So if you're giving us your old email, your old AOL or Yahoo email address that you haven't checked in a long time and it's full, I still have Yahoo email. Clean out your email. You know what I mean? Like, take care in all the possible ways you can take care and make the most of this opportunity. But to close us out, do any of you like have any last words to share, even if it's just like words of encouragement for your home states?
Yeah, definitely. We have on the website a 10-step process, so we really encourage you to go over that 10-step and take the time. It's like we asked our current cohort of awardees how long did they take to create their application, and it was 20 hours. Was their average time. So, take that time to create those and make sure that you have the required documents, and those letters reflect what is needed to be said in there. So those would be my main things, because there were last year we had some, recommendation letters, and people would just put names and address and phone number, like we were supposed to call them. We don't, that's too much time. We can't do that. So please make sure that your recommendation letters are submitted and fit the requirements of them. And then I'll pass it.
I would just say to take the time with your application and really, really plan. Our people were planful people at one time. And just take the time to plan out your application and the resources that you're going to receive if, awarded this grant, that you take the time. Our people, we wouldn't be here if our people didn't plan. So just take that time, get your applications in early, don't wait last minute. And let's go, South Dakota.
And what I would recommend is, along using our resources, if you need help, please utilize the Navigator or the Navigator hubs. That is what they are there for. Again, we will be going out and working with our Navigator hubs in the next 2 weeks or week or so, and so they will be fully prepared to help you. And so that's about it, and I'm looking forward to working with you, North Dakota.
Yeah, let's get some more applications in North Dakota. I just drove in from North Dakota.
And Minnesota, save and submit. Because the Flux portal does not automatically save, so make sure you hit save. It might, even a good recommendation is to write your answers on a Word document or a Google Doc, and then copy and paste over into the portal and then hit save. And remember to hit submit too. We had some people that didn't hit submit, and they missed the deadline.
Yeah.
Go Minnesota.
Thank you so much, all of you guys. Thank you so much, all of you guys. And I think too, to our watchers and our community and our people, Don't give up. Don't give up. I know as someone who's applied for like many things and poured my heart onto the page, I remember a time like applying for a scholarship, and I just really, really wanted it as a single mother in college, and I applied and I poured my heart onto the page and submitted it at midnight, and it wasn't, and I didn't get it, and I was really, really hurt. And I know that can be hurtful for our people too, when you share your dreams and you're really hopeful and you get that denial or that declination and it isn't the time, or your application wasn't one of them selected. Like, just want to say here that like at Indian Collective, our process of reviewing applications is done with so much care. Like, these are beautiful matriarchs and women and aunties from the community. You see how much they care. Our reviewers, our regional advisory committee, they represent really beautiful, amazing people from the community.
Hello everyone, Madakiapi, Tahilapi, Maniwia Machiapi. My name is Jillian Wan. I am Sicangu Lakota. I am the Director of Storytelling at Sicangu Co. Sicangu Co is a Lakota-led organization that is focused on improving the lives of the Sicangu Lakota people through economic development and through the revitalization of our Lakota language, our education, our health, our food systems, and bringing back the Tatanka. We are really excited to share that our Sicangu Co office, which is located just east, a half a mile east outside of Mission, South Dakota, will serve as the Navigator hub for those that are located on or around Sicangu Makoche. We have a very friendly group of staff that are very much looking forward to supporting our relatives with technical support through registration for the Collective Abundance Fund that Indian Collective is offering. We have many options available for assistance both in person and virtually through Zoom. There will be a Saturday option available April 13th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. That one will be in person only. And then the week of April 15th through the 19th, which is Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. There will be both in person and the Zoom option available. There will also be 2 late evening options available on Tuesday, April 16th, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. in person and Zoom. And then Thursday, April 18th, 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. in person and the Zoom option available as well. So there are lots of times to choose from if you need assistance. We are really excited for this opportunity that Indian Collective has brought to our community, and we promise to do our very best in providing the technical support that you might need in order to apply. Wopila, thank you.
Hello, my name is Zach Allen, and I'm an English instructor at Chandeska-Chicana Community College in Fort Totten, North Dakota. We serve the Spirit Lake Nation, a Dakota Nation. We are inviting you to join us in an informational training on Indians Collective Grant Opportunity, the Collective Abundance Fund. Collectively, this is an opportunity for us as community partners to leverage our mission and service to Indigenous families and communities. Come learn about the grant program, requirements, how your collective constituency of Indigenous relatives could apply for the Indigenous Wealth Building Opportunity, and the navigation role we can support. Indian Collective will provide the training, a social media toolkit, printed materials, including the enclosed Collective Abundance Program summary to share across your network. Their team will also share information on the incentive provided to individual navigators for awarded applications. If you are interested in learning more about being an individual navigator, we will host an informational training March 5th at 9 a.m. at Chandeska-Chicana Community College. Additionally, as an identified navigator hub to the Collective Abundance Fund this year, Chandeska-Chicana Community College will be offering individual technical assistance and application support to interested applicants during the week of March 25th through the 28th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. here on our campus. Come learn how you can refer potential applicants to receive this support or how you too may serve as a navigator. For questions, please contact me, Zach Allen, at 701-766-1115. That's Zach Allen, 701-766-1115. Hello.
Out earlier, then our sound went out, but there's just a lot of important information we wanted to make sure and share, and so thanks for sticking with us. I know a lot of people were anticipating this live. We appreciate you guys for your patience, but just want to close out and tell you all thank you again for sticking with us throughout this programming. We got to hear from our Navigator hubs again. You got to hear from some of our team. You got to hear from our president and CEO, just all about like what we're here for, why we exist, why we partnered with the Bush Foundation for this really unique grant, and how overall Indian Collective, with our mission and with our theory of change, we seek to rematriate wealth, build indigenous power on our terms, and we're just going to keep doing the work. So continue following us on social media. You can also quick side plug here. You can apply, or you can sign up for our to receive our newsletter. So go to our website, indiancollective.org, and you could sign up for updates that way too. Go to grantsinfo@indiancollective.org for specific questions if you're struggling. Go to the Indian Collective Collective Abundance Fund page. Follow us on social media. There's a number of different ways that we're here to help you all. So thank you again so much for joining us here, and we'll see you again next time.